Member of Planning Commission, Professor V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai, Honorable Vice Chancellor IGNOU, Professor Praveen Sinclair, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, to come on the dais, please. Professor B.L. Mungekar, Honorable Member of the Planning Commission, Professor V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai, Honorable Vice Chancellor IGNOU, Professor Praveen Sinclair, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor IGNOU, Dr. Vimal Thorat, Coordinator Dr. Ambedkar Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a historical moment. I call this historical because there is a deserved recognition to a great person who changed history. By sheer dint of industry and perseverance, he rose to the eminence of a great scholar, statesman, the main architect of nation's constitution, and above all, the leader of the oppressed. He combined in himself the distinction of being a great scholar, social revolutionary, and statesman, a combination that is rarely come across. To start off the proceedings of this historical occasion, as I said, I would request our chief guest, Professor Mungekar, to first garland the portrait of Dr. Ambedkar and then lighting of the lamp. Now we would like to extend a floral welcome, first of all, to our chief guest, Professor B.L. Mungekar. I would request Dr. Neera Singh to come and present a bouquet to our chief guest. A round of applause. And then I would request Kaushilya ji to come up and present a bouquet to our Vice Chancellor. Now I would request Professor Praveen Sinclair to come and present the welcome address.
Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Mungekar, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Pillai, the Convener, Dr. Thorat, Pro Vice Chancellor Mishra, and other guests over here. I extend you a warm welcome to the inauguration, which was, of course, overdue by now, of the Ambedkar Chair for Social Change and Development. We had planned it originally for April 14th or thereabouts, but there have been some problems, but I'm very glad it's today, and I'm very glad Professor Mungekar is here with us. He is very appropriate, a founder of the Ambedkar Institute for Social Change, Social and Economic Change. He's been trying to propagate the values and the knowledge and understanding that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar tried to bring to the country and personally to individuals also, be it constitutional, be it about change, whatever. So his propagation has been matching with the objectives, broad objectives of the chair. We have, of course, also our advisor, some of our advisory body members here too. I don't know, Professor Jyotka, if he's come, he'll be joining us soon. Other members could not make it today, but we have already got a plan of action which Dr. Thorat will tell us about a little later. I hope this chair will work the way the university has envisaged it, the way we all would like it to work. Welcome again.
Thank you, Professor Sinclair. And I would request Professor Pillai to come and deliver the presidential address.
Honorable member of the Planning Commission and former Vice Chancellor of Bombay University, Professor B.L. Mungekar, Professor Parveen Sinclair, Pro Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. Vimal Tharaj, who has been entrusted with the coordination of the Dr.B.R.Amedkar Chair on Social Change and Development, my colleagues from the University, other invitees, members of the printed and electronic media, other distinguished invitees. First of all, let me welcome Professor B.L. Mungekar, member of the Planning Commission and an eminent economist, to the Indira Gandhi National Open University. This is his third visit to the university, I understand. During the last foundation day of the university, along with Justice Venkatachalaya and the Honorable Minister of HRD, Mr. Arjun Singh, he was the guest of honor. I am really glad today because almost 6-7 months in the Board of Management, I moved a resolution that a chair for social change and development in the name of Dr. B.R.Amedkar has to be instituted in this university. And the Board of Management accepted the recommendations, and we have also discussed this thing in the various other bodies of the university, including the planning board of the university and other statutory bodies. We have also chalked out an action plan which covers education, development, training, awareness on all areas where Dr. Ambedkar had contributed. The university thought that this chair has to be here in Indira Gandhi National Open University as one of the flagship activity, because I think no other university in the world can really take pride of saying that if there is one example of creating social mobility in education institutions, it is Indira Gandhi National Open University. It has been described by international bodies now as a success story in democratization of education. This is the epithet which we are getting. Our motto is that education, inclusive growth of the society, which the Honorable Prime Minister of India and all of you have been advocating. That inclusive growth of this country or the society can achieve only through inclusive education. Only by providing educational opportunities to the large sections of the underprivileged sections of the society, women, we can achieve inclusive growth. And I had given a copy of the annual report and the profile of the Indira Gandhi National Open University 2008 during the earlier visit to the Planning Commission and to Dr. Mungekar. If you just look at the annual report, you will see that this university has, in its 1.85 million enrollments, 29% of SC/ST students, and the percentage of women in the enrollment, that is also substantially high compared to any other university in the world. Of course, we are contributing to the gross enrollment ratio For example, now the gross enrollment ratio is 11%, almost 11%. 20% of this 11% is coming from the open university system in the country. 20%, 1/5. And Indira Gandhi National Open University, out of this 1/5, Indira Gandhi National Open University, almost 85% of the Open University students are in the Indira Gandhi National Open University and its centers. There is no need of emphasizing the importance of creating a chair, creating a study, a center for studies on Ambedkar and his activities to this audience. We know that he was an exemplary jurist, political leader, scholar, Buddhist, revivalist, and the architect of Indian Constitution. He fought against caste discrimination. He believed that political power cannot be a panacea for the ills of the depressed classes. Their salvation lies in their social elevation. They must be educated. He believed it, and he argued for that. Dr. Ambedkar also argued for extensive economic and social rights for women, education and affirmative action through socio-economic and legal incentives he advocated. He passionately believed in the freedom of the individual, and he believed in promoting independent initiatives to each and every person. He has played the part of destiny in the liberation of the suppressed humanity in India. So India must learn to understand his life and his mission. His life is highly instructive to everyone who yearns for human dignity and equality. He is the most inspiring example of what a human being can achieve by his indomitable perseverance, self-denial, even under the most depressing and destitute circumstances. His study of and understanding of his life will also provide a lesson that one should rely upon one's own efforts in life rather than depend upon the help and patronage of others. Ambedkar's eternal search for knowledge is remarkable, and he was incredibly industrious, and his unflinching aim with which he raised himself from dust to dawn, from the life of a social outcast to the position of a constitution maker of this great country, and his heroic struggles for raising the downtrodden to the human dignity will constitute a golden chapter in the history of the nation and in the history of the human freedom or human rights. This chair which we institute in the university, we have of course definitely asked for support from the government. The papers are lying with the MHRD and other bodies for the financial support. Of course, we are not depending on financial support for activities, for any meaningful activities related to education. That there should be fund, and we are not saying that our activities are going to be delayed or not happening because of the lack of funds. But we expect that at least in the plan, 11th plan, this chair will be a full-fledged, will have full-fledged academic activities, and it is not the money that matters. For example, when the government of India or the concerned Ministry of Social Welfare or the Ministry of HRD gives a token assistance to this particular activity, that shows that the government, the policy of the government is in supporting such activities. And we are confident that we will be able to achieve in our own way in creating and in promoting social mobility through activities of this chair. We are looking for a dignitary, an eminent person to ask the chair to occupy this chair. We will be definitely giving some sort of an advertisement or something, not just advertisement, we will be just making an awareness to the public that such a chair is here. And we have a national expert committee, national advisory board for this chair. I welcome all the members of the advisory board of this chair. And we had one meeting of the advisory meeting. We will also identify activities across the country, not only in Indira Gandhi National Open University at its headquarters in Delhi. We will also see to it that we will develop programs, even now in our social sciences programs, some of the social sciences programs, there may be some specific courses or specific modules on Ambedkar and his activities for the various courses. But we will see to it that through this chair, research, dissemination of Ambedkar's activities across the world through our technology channels, we will see to it that all the activities will be disseminated, and we will also try to provide some exclusive programs, very specific for the benefit of the students in the various disciplines about Ambedkar and his activities. These are some of the things of the Dr. Vimal Thorat has already prepared a small document about the chair, and we welcome suggestions from each and every one of, not only from the university, even from outside we expect suggestions, we invite suggestions, and regularly we will have academic activities, seminars, conferences, and specific programs for specific courseworks or programs for students in this area. We will also create a repository of Ambedkar's work. We will try to develop some sort of a documentation of the various activities so that this success story can be disseminated to others as well. These are some of the things which we intend, and we will have a full-fledged chair and its faculty members to take up these activities. And I'm confident that Dr. Mungekar, he himself is an eminent educationist. He knows the importance of such activities. He has shown, he has illustrated that perseverance in such matters can definitely yield results. This country is definitely seeing a revolution in education. After the 1950s, a second revolution is happening in education. You know that 85,000 crores is the allotment for higher education. This year, 85,000 crores. I was telling Dr. Mungekar, we are not getting a single crore out of this. So far, so this, of course, not that it is not the money. I never complained about money, or because independent initiative of individuals, that is the most. Indira Gandhi National Open University with 1.85 million students, which is a success story in democratization of education. We are augmenting, we are complementing the activities of the government, and I sincerely feel that by supporting this chair as well as by supporting this university, we will be contributing to the, we will be augmenting, or we will be contributing to the thinking of Dr. Ambedkar. And I am glad that we got Dr. Mungekar to inaugurate the activities of this chair today. Once again, I welcome him. I request the support from each and every one of you for the efficient execution of the various activities of this chair. Thank you very much.
And I would request Dr. Vimal Thorat now to come and say a few words about this chair. Dr. Thorat, please.
Chief guest, Professor Mungekar, Member Planning Commission, Chairman of the function, Professor Rajshekharan Pillai, Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Parveen Sinclair, distinguished members of Board of Management, Pro Vice Chancellors of IGNOU, Advisory Board members of B.R.Amedkar Chair, staff members, faculty members and other participants and persons from media. Before I say something about the chair, I would like to express special thanks to all those people who have made this chair a reality, and also the vision and spirit with which the chair has been set up. We are particularly thankful to our Vice Chancellor Professor Rajshekharan Pillai, who has taken special efforts to set up this chair. I will briefly like to share the purpose of the setting of the chair. Friends, I need not repeat the importance of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the nation building. His contribution are in multiple spheres. He was not only a political leader and a social revolutionary, but a great scholar. Through his political and social efforts and academic writings, he has tried to translate his vision for restructuring of Indian society towards the goal of equality, justice and fraternity. It is now recognized that the thoughts and vision of Dr. Ambedkar have not been studied properly in the mainstream of social sciences and literature. It is also recognized that Ambedkar's academic contribution has not adequately included in the university's academic curriculum. It is this recognition on the part of our university which has led to setting up of this chair, and I will now present the main aims and objectives of the chair. The main goal of the chair is undertake research on the social, political, economic, religious and other thoughts of Ambedkar. Particular focus will be also on the problems of discrimination associated with caste, ethnicity, gender, religion and other groups' identities. The chair will also place focus on social, economic and political discriminated groups such as Dalit, Adivasis, women, minorities, denotified and nomadic tribes and other similar groups. The center will strive to bring out strategies, perspectives, ideas and concepts resulting into an overall understanding of Dr. Ambedkar's economic, social philosophy. It will also deal with policies against discrimination and for empowerment. The center will make an attempt to provide a platform for researchers, academicians and students to spread the ideas of Ambedkar and sensitize the civil society. Thank you very much.
Now it's time for me to invite our chief guest for the day, Professor B.L. Mungekar, to come and present the inaugural address.
Professor Rajshekharan Pillai, Honorable Vice Chancellor of this university, and my friend for years, Professor Parveen Sinclair, and other Pro Vice Chancellors of this esteemed university, my colleague and friend, Dr. Vimal Thorat, distinguished members of the Board of Governors, academicians, members of the faculty, non-teaching staff, persons from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed an honor for me to have been asked to inaugurate the activities of Dr. Ambedkar Chair in Social Change and Development. I have been closely following the activities of IGNOU even before becoming a member of the Planning Commission. And during my tenure as Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai, when I had opportunity to go and visit some of the universities in European countries particularly, I found the importance that they give to distance education, distance learning. Distance learning in the course of time in the international education discourse is no more untouchable. That is stepmotherly discipline, totally separated and dealing from the mainstream. It is accepted universally that distance education learning is very, very potent and important, reliable, significant mechanism to give opportunity to otherwise deprived sections of the society. Deprived doesn't mean everywhere in the world untouchable, because fortunately for them there is no untouchability. Whoever is not finding possible to join the mainstream education in the formal university setup, for them distance education is the greatest recourse, and from that point of view, I joined Reserve Bank as a clerk in 1965, immediately after passing SSC examination. And that's why my involvement is somewhat more in the distance education, because earning and learning in the early 60s also amounted to distance education, because I don't remember to have attended more than 25% lecture throughout the day. First lecture was 6:45 a.m. That's why distance education is doing historical contribution to expanding the base of education. And Professor Pillai was absolutely right in saying that out of the 11% gross enrollment ratio in India, exactly 50% of China now. China, 2 years ago it was 20%. Now definitely it must have reached to 26%. And we are struggling to reach, or we shall be struggling to reach 15% by the end of the 11th five-year plan, that is 2011 and 12. And out of this 11% or 10.5%, educationists are struggling exactly to estimate 20% coming from distance education, and out of that 80% alone from IGNOU. That's why Professor Pillai, his all colleagues in the IGNOU and distance education fraternity across the country, I congratulate Professor Pillai and his colleagues and the board of members of the governing body to institute this chair in the name of Dr. Ambedkar. I will speak about what I expect from chair in course of time. But this is absolutely novel effort. And I just mentioned that Professor Pillai and myself, we have been friends for years. But what I am saying about him now, it has nothing to do with that durable friendship. Since beginning, from the days of Professor Ram Reddy was the first founder, vice-chancellor of this university, it has been on the right path. It has got successive good vice-chancellors because requirements of IGNOU as a university are totally different from conventional university. Conventional university has got certain conventional setup. We have got, I should say rather, stereotype framework. Distance education was to be introduced in this country for the first time in more systematic manner. And I congratulate all former vice chancellors and pro vice chancellors. But I must publicly mention, during last 3 years or so, after Professor Pillai has taken the reins of the university, it is changing its structure, its scope, its manifestations, its activities, its vision, and continuously upgrading several academic activities which are existing before, along with the expansion of the activities, and this being one. Ambedkar is the most controversial personality in modern history of India. No other personality was as controversial as Ambedkar was. Who creates controversy? No, controversies are not about the person. Controversies about the values for which a person is struggling. Now, in the modern history of India, Ambedkar, because of most controversial, also Ambedkar is most misunderstood. Now, I will be extremely happy among your other activities, this Ambedkar chair in social change and development also takes upon itself as one of the activities of making Ambedkar known to this country afresh in the change context. This is applicable to both those who are claiming to be followers of Ambedkar and those who are not, because there is a barrier of caste system. And last 40 years of my public life, I understand the strength of those barriers. My question is that why Ambedkar was controversial? Because the values with which Ambedkar wanted to establish Indian society on the egalitarian principle, those values were absent. And to establish Indian society on the foundation of those values, we have to create controversy. And I firmly believe history records only those personalities, those who have got capacity to create controversies. Let us take Mahatma Phule. Let us take his wife Savitribai Phule, the first woman teacher. Now biologically, women in this country during last 100 years or 150 years may be having their different mothers. But philosophically speaking, ethically speaking, temperamentally speaking, conceptually, women in this country are most indebted to Savitribai Phule than even to their own biological mothers. Because had she not been beaten by the orthodox people in Pune when she was going to evening class, which was started by her illustrious husband Jyotirao Phule, where were women in 1951? They were just invisible. Where women are today, there is not a single sphere of social, political, cultural, educational, scientific life of the country where women have not made their impact, and perhaps more profound impact than men what they have made. It was only fact that women were not given freedom by men because men did not want to surrender to some extent, partially at least, their sovereignty. Now this is how people are recorded, only those in the history, those who create controversies. In fact, history is nothing but at the aggregate level biography of the people, those who try to make the controversies and create the history themselves. You take any area, politics, just as a scholar, most of the people in this country, let me tell you very frankly, without being apologetic, but in my public life, when there is no occasion for me to be apologetic, I refuse to be apologetic. And this is one occasion. Without being apologetic to this nation, I must tell you, even if you take simple PhD, quality of which under consideration now and being questioned, he was the first and only person till today who could get Columbia University's PhD in public finance in 1921-22, and just within the span of 1.5 years, PhD from London School of Economics, that time London University, in monetary economics. After studying economics for nearly 40 years, even now I have to take dictionary beside me to understand the meaning of the sentences which is written in the problem of rupee. Now, even academics in the country, for various reasons, maybe for exogenous reasons or endogenous reasons in terms of econometrics, even this bare fact is not known. Philosophy, he wrote magnum opus, Buddha and his Dhamma. That is his total interpretation. If you see Indian Constitution on one hand and Buddha and his Dhamma on the other, people know that Ambedkar was architect of the Indian Constitution. But Indian Constitution was to be given certain philosophical and moral base. Indian Constitution is not only a political document. Indian Constitution has certain moral foundation, and that moral foundation he was trying to give through the principles of Buddha. The Indian society, Indians, we, the people of India, we only have made Buddha's 9th incarnation because we have to fit everything into that 10 avatars, otherwise we shall lose our distinct characteristic. But then again, treating Buddha just was, particularly after 1956 and Ambedkar conversion to Buddhism, people consider that Buddhism is the religion of the ex-untouchables. It is nothing, there is nothing other more ignorant than this. Economic philosophy. In fact, Nehru and Ambedkar were the closest collaborators so far modern India's or post-independent India's economic reconstruction program was concerned. Ambedkar criticized heavily Nehru's objective resolution when Constituent Assembly debates were going on. political science. Let us take the case of partition. At least the political scientists among you must have read partition. Ambedkar was the only person who diagnosed the exact crux of partition. Partition is one difficult. It is difficult to understand what could have happened at that point of time. In that context, I consider Ambedkar on par with M.N. Roy, a cold-blooded surgeon. Economists, political scientists, philosophers, poets, artists, painters, our job is wait and watch. Surgeon, when patient comes, there is no time because he has to decide or she has to decide, operated to be now, within fraction of second. Ambedkar reacted to each and every aspect and problem of the Indian society. Now, Ambedkar's greatness was not only he tried to approach the problem, he has prescribed the solution. And solution, whether you like or not, whether you agree or not, whether the same solution he provided 70 years ago may not be valid now, but prescribing solution to the problems, as economics are considering that economics being the dismal science, Ambedkar was not considering economics as a dismal science. Let us take the case of a linguistic problem. Linguistic states, when in 1956, States Organization Commission was appointed under Professor Panikar. Women's liberation. Ambedkar was, when he was trying to bring Hindu Code Bill, his followers are asking, Dr. Ambedkar, why you are fighting for Hindu Code Bill, economic rights for women? Where is the property for agricultural women that scheduled caste women are? He told, don't talk foolish. I am not talking for economic rights of women, of agricultural laborers coming from scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. It is value system for me. And you know what is happening so far the economic rights are concerned for women in Punjab and Haryana. The lowest sex ratio in these two states known for agrarian revolution. National ratio is 931 according to 2001 census. It was 927 in 1991. It was 971 in 1951. The people in this country and demographers are taking pride that we increased the ratio from 927 to 931, forgetting the fact that during 60 years we declined from 971 to 931. Women are not allowed to be born. What kind of democracy? What kind of integration? What kind of inclusive society? What kind of equal right? What kind of women empowerment? When they are not allowed to be born, and one major reason is dowry system. The point which I am trying to bring forth for these mornings expressing views, because there is not a single aspect of India's national life, social, economic, political, cultural, language. Your distance education, in fact, Ambedkar should be considered as the pioneer. In 1945, he started People's Education Society, and purchased land and buildings in Fort area, where earlier offices were British East India Company offices were established in Fort area of Mumbai, because people should be able to find their jobs immediately after lecture hours were over. 1945, the first morning college in India, which is equivalent to your distance education now, that was Ambedkar's vision. My question is, let us take the case of education, let us take the case of quality of education, let us take the case of primary teachers and secondary teachers overburdened with work other than teaching. 30% of the jobs of the teachers today in the country, work is given non-teaching, and we are considering that our results should be 100%, 95%. When teachers are compelled not to teach at least 30% of their teaching time. These are the distortions in the system. Ambedkar wanted to remove all these distortions. That's why I shall be extremely happy to be associated with any kind of activity. See, Ambedkar, when I was imprisoned in 1979, when renaming of Marathwada University after Ambedkar was going on, and 14 days I was in jail. Now this is included in my curriculum vitae. That's why there is nothing like private or secret. But there is no disqualification for me. I was the political prisoner. People were asking us, how Dalits are going to be improved their economic conditions if the name of the university is changed. Now it was travesty of wisdom and any kind of right person's conscience. University was sought to be renamed, and in course of time it became Dr.B.R.Amedkar Marathwada University, was not to change economic conditions of Dalit or scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Because Ambedkar, we were arguing, and any rightful person must argue, and for time being I consider myself as a right person, I could take that liberty. Ambedkar was not one individual. Ambedkar is a symbol of a new society, free from exploitation, free from harassment, free from unfreedoms. You know, Amartya Sen is using the word freedoms and unfreedom. Ambedkar was criticized because he did not participate in the freedom movement. Ambedkar was raising the question, freedom for whom? Freedom for what? Where freedom? Freedom for husbands to beat their wives, freedom to industrialists and capitalists to exploit the labor, freedom from superpowers to exploit the developing and underdeveloped countries, freedom from every powerful to defy the weak. It is not the freedom. Freedom means a system should be created in such a way that nobody will be in position to exploit, as a result of which nobody will be exploited. Now, eternal principles are there: liberty, equality, and fraternity. And the debate among them, which will be achievable, at what point, at what cost. This debate is going on right from Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and so on. And it is not easy to resolve. Equality, for example. Nobody says that Prime Minister of the country and the sweeper in the Indira Gandhi Institute should be given the same treatment. But then your national wage scale, when Honorable Prime Minister raised the question about certain moral standards in deciding the pay structure of the corporate sector vehemently reacted that everybody will be getting its own price. Now everybody will be getting its own price, and corporate sector, and we are giving the advertisement that IIT is getting 1 crore a year. What will happen to 30 crore people or 300 million people, those who are not able to spend 38 rupees per day after 60 years of independence? This was the question Ambedkar was raising 70 years ago. Every question that Ambedkar raised during his lifetime is valid exactly as he was raising in his own times. And I shall be extremely happy that you will be taking under this chair, under your guidance, your mission, and under your scope, all these problems. It's not that what Ambedkar thought should be studied. Study should be what Ambedkar thought, and perhaps more on what Ambedkar was wanted to create. All sorts of discrimination, that is the study that Ambedkar was interested in to create that kind of society. But one simple assurance I will give, at least during my tenure in the Planning Commission as the in charge of education, IGNOU will be taken proper care, and then wish this chair grand success any time, irrespective of member of the Planning Commission or otherwise. Whenever university will feel that I am to be asked for some use, I am not saying guidance, I am not saying cooperation, I am not saying assistance, in any capacity in economics, I am useful, I shall be at your service. Thank you very much.
मैं सभी का धन्यवाद करती हूँ और ख़ास करके हमारे मुख्य अतिथि प्रोफेसर भालचंद्र मुंगेकर का धन्यवाद करती हूँ। धन्यवाद।